Well, hello. Good morning. At least it is for me. It's a rather chilly morning out in my she shed, so I'm wearing my trusty sweatshirt. Apologize for the stain, but that's crafting stuff for you. So here we go. We got another signature that we're going to be building, and you'll want to pull out this paper right here. It is the reverse side to this. This is coming out of the 12 by 12 pack. And then we cut earlier this diagonal piece, so we're going to use it so that we don't waste the cardstock. So that's going to go here. And then I took this sheet here, and it came out of the 8 by 8s. I can tell by the size. And I have trimmed it down to fit here. We had a little bit of that sticker piece left, so I'm putting it right here. I'm going to run some ribbon. And then this gap here, I've taken this card, the sticker that says Hugs and Kisses, putting it on the front. This is a magnet closure. And then in here, you're going to have 2 spots, blank spots to put some photos or hand journaling, and we've got a magnet closure. So this will get mounted right here. Now, in your ephemera, you have this piece. It fit in here, something like this, and then this joined it. So it was just a small piece. I cut that out of the center and made 2 corner embellishments out of it. And I've already glued them up here because I lose things across my workspace here. So with that, let's go ahead and let's get some measurements for you. This is going to be at 9 inches by 8 5/8. And like I said, you should already have this cut, but if for some reason you cut into it for something else, this is going to be 8 inches by 7 1/8, and then you will simply cut it on the diagonal. And that's going to sit right down here in this corner. Perfect. And then we will glue this piece on, and it's when I line it up to trim this, you can cut it down to 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around than the cardstock piece, and then cut it on the diagonal. Come here. Let me pick you up. All right. Now, because this little card is going to overhang a little bit, I'm going to put this down first. Put a little bit of glue here and a little bit of glue here. And then, I guess it isn't going to matter which end goes where. They're both kind of loose. I'll snip this overhang off down here. Okay, perfect. All right, and then I'm going to put this all together. Oh, silly me. This thing is 8 inches in its length. You'll score it at 4. And let me tell you what the height of it is. So this is 3 inches by 8, and you're scoring it at 4 inches. And then I set my magnets. Now, the pattern piece that I chose out of my scraps, one side is striped and the other side isn't. And I think for a change up in color, I'm going to leave one side of it striped and one side of it solid. And you can choose which side you want your photo mat on, or your pattern pieces that you're cutting out. You can leave both striped or both of them solid, whichever tickles your fancy. And now I'm going to glue all but this angled corner right here. And I'm going to be pretty generous because it's a pretty stout little piece. And I'm kind of centering. This is not quite long enough to go the full length of this piece, this card. So I'm centering it so that there's even space on both sides, so that it looks like it was designed that way, if you will. Okay, so now this will open. And there's your photo mats, and that is done. So let's go right into our next piece. I have to take it apart though, and in doing so, I'm going to try and keep all of my elements in their respective places. Oops, I didn't. I kind of screwed up. Ha! Well, whatever. This first piece here is going to measure in at 8 1/4 inches across. And then it's going to measure 8 1/8 in the height. You will score it at a 1/2 inch. And then what you will be attaching to it is this card here. This will measure at 4 1/2 inches by 6, 1/2 inch score, and then you're going to tape it to the front of this page and center it as best as possible. And this is on the wrong end. Okay, so then I cut this pattern piece here, and then I put one of the photo corners on it, and we're going to glue it and set it to the inside here. And then I chose this. This is, you can have this on the front if you want, from the heart. I'm giving you an option and make it your own. Or you can turn it this way And I'm torn because a photo could go here, or you can do some hand journaling, dates, places, names. And I'm always trying to get people to journal, tell their story. So this is the side I'm going to use. This is a lovely piece on this side. But again, making it your own, you can choose which side you want. But, now I just got glue all over my desktop. Dad blast. Okay, and then this is gonna go in here. Like so. And I've got to clean this up. Okay. All right, so that's what you have here. And I just realized my mistake. That was supposed to open this way. No worries, I'm just gonna use some undo. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to completely flip sides because that will put this on the outside and that's not what I want. I'm thinking, hold on here, I'm gonna take this off just to see if I can salvage it on this side. I probably can't. That's why this was upside down to begin with. And I didn't think about that. Okay, so if I turn this way, so I can still put this back here. It's going to open up that way. See, and then that's not where I want it. That's a mess, but it's getting covered up, so I don't care. And because the two sides are the same size, it's not going to be any big deal. So I'm going to flip this way, and then I'm going to retape this here. So you can either keep it on the side that I originally started with, or you can flip it. Like I said, they're both the same size, so it's not going to hurt anything to do that. I set this up yesterday and I completely forgot how I laid this out, and I made that mistake. Okay, so this is, and then you open it up this way. Bink. It will go here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in because I don't want to get them all mixed up again. So this is going to go here. And then this one, I will have to turn upside down. Okay, I'm thinking, sorry, everything's gonna move over here. So now this needs to come across this way, so I need to turn these this way. Okay, 8 5/8 by 8 1/8. It's the same size with a 1/2 inch score. And then you will place it on your right side. So we're just flipping the 2 panels. No big deal. It's a good thing that they're exact. Perfect. And again, encouraging some journaling. I'm going to put this on the outside, and then I cut and trim this for the underside. Okay, get this glued in here. And again, a little photo corner so you can tuck if you wish. All right, and that's going to lay over like so. All right, now, before I forget the direction of going with this, let's see if we can't put this together. Okay, we are going to make a couple of belly bands that are going to go here on these pages so that you can have a place to insert your invitations, maybe some thank you cards, wedding cards, announcements. You can tuck up in these. These will be, that both sides will be the same, so you've got lots of places to do this. So once I get the pattern piece on there, I'm going to put my lace down the center, and then I fussy cut. I have one that's missing here. I fussy cut a piece of floral out of one of these patterns here, out of the scrap, and then I fussy cut a bow out of some scraps, and then this is going to lay in like this, and that will be the center. And I have a bow floating here somewhere. Okay, this is such a lovely piece. I think we'll still be playing with it. But right now, this is the side I want. Now, if you want to use this side, that's entirely up to you. Now, the belly band, there's my bow, measures at 2 inches by 8 1/4 inches. Putting some tape on it here. Now, I want to center this. So I'm measuring across the pattern paper, so I'm right at 4 inches. So I'm going to make a tick mark right about here, and then I'm going to make my tick mark right about there, and then I'm going to eyeball the center of this and bring it all the way to the end, and then straight down. And I've got just a little extra, but I'll trim that off. Let me turn it up this way. Okay. And then a cut to fit. And then I am going to I'm just going to run glue down the center of this. I'm not going to be totally neat about putting this down because centering the glue will be sufficient enough. I'm not going to worry about gluing down the edges. Now I'm going to let that dry a little bit and then I'll trim off my excess up here. So here's my bow. And I'm going to drop that in right about here. And then here's my fussy cut floral. They didn't have a lot of small floral in here that you could continue to use, so I just went to some of the scraps and found a couple of pieces that I liked. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing here. There's my bow. This is also out of the 8x8. And I'm going to tape it. I'm kind of freaking out right at the moment, trying to remember how I set this up, so I apologize. You know, I've noticed as I'm watching videos, so many designers have design programs and cutting machines like the Cricut and everything else, so they're getting exact cuts. But my brain doesn't work that way. I tried to use it overwhelms me. So I just do things a lot just from hand, and they don't come out perfect, but I don't think that there's a lot of us that can claim that they're a perfect crafter. So everything is just good old Charlie. I'll pull that off and I'll place this back down here. Secure it with the tape that's there so it doesn't move on me. Okay, and then the same thing. We have a 2-inch belly band that's going to go in the center, and our center is at 4 inches. So I'm just going to make some pencil marks so that I'm staying straight. And I'll center this and go all the way up. And I use the same piece of scrap for pattern. And then the same lace, and I'm just going to glue my center. It's really the only thing that needs to be adhered. And again, once this dries and sets up a little bit, I'll come in here and trim off that excess. Here's my fussy cut ribbon. And again, a matching fussy cut floral off of some scrap paper. Oh, that must be in the design. Interesting. Okay, you need to stay down there. Okay, so that has these two done, and this is the only place that we will have a magnet on the inside. We're going to have a couple more magnets when we do the closure. So now let's open this back up. And then in here, we're going to again use some 8x8 papers. They are the gold crown colored pieces. And we will make some pockets, but I do believe I've changed my mind and I'm gonna, no, I am gonna move this one to the inside because I got my magnet over here. So this pocket will need to come here. And I'm running a little bit of ribbon down the center. This will go up here. So this came off the sticker sheet and I'm going to use it as a tuck. So I put tape, I mounted it on cardstock. I put a 1/4 inch tape here. It will go up here in the corner as a tuck. And then this came out of the chipboard pieces and I'm just going to lay it over a piece of ribbon on this. The pocket is 1.5 inches. And it's 8 1/8 because it's always going to be the same as your height. So let's get some tape. Stuck it down prematurely. to lift this off on this side because I have a bubble. Come on. There we go. And then I've already given you the measurement of this, but just in case, 1.5 by 8 1/8. And then I'm going to sneak up just inside of that score line. Using this green pattern with this pink and green stripe on the back side. And this I'm going to attach with some skinny tape. I only need one lace needing to dry. I want the other one to stick rather quickly. Okay, we're going to set this in the center. And then, boy, I didn't get that on there very straight, did I? Oh, it's as good as it's going to get. And we're going to put this in. And it will need to come over this edge just a smidgen because you do not want to add any more bulk any closer to this than you need because it will prevent a good page layover. And then this will come up here in this corner about 1/4 in and 1/4 down. So now this will lay over like so. Oh, I know what else I forgot. Here they are. I probably have lost the other one. I also cut out, with this assembly, there was a little butterfly right next to it. And I just saw it, so it means I've probably lost the other one here somewhere. And I just want to put that right there. And I'm just gluing down the center so that the wings will stay up. So this side is done. So now we'll come over to this side. Oh, and here's my other butterfly. Yay! There we go. And then we're going to repeat this so you have the same exact configuration on this side that you do on your right side. 1.5 inches by 8 1/8. Down here at the bottom and just inside of that score line. And then this piece. And then this chipboard piece, Forever Fabulous. Just pull it away from this edge here a little bit. And then I took the other sticker, the matching one, again onto cardstock, taped it 1/4 inch across the top of this so that this can be a tuck on this page. I am going to, for some reason this is not going down. I'm going to paper clip it closed. That's not going to work, it just creates a bump. Well, so there we have it. Goodness sakes. Okay. So this is what we have that we've built so far. Now we're going to create a couple more panels. And I will keep everything organized. All right, each panel is going to be the same. So they are going to measure in at 5 1/8 across by 8 5/8 in their height. You will then score at a 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. And I want this hinge up on top so that it encompasses everything that we've just built. The best way to do that is just stand this up, wrap the end around, get it squared up, turn it over, and you should be right up next to that 5/8 score line. And there we have it. All right, same thing on this side. It's 5 1/8 by 8 5/8, 1/2 inch score, 7/8 of a score. Again, stand this up, match it up so that that hinge is on the side, absorbing all that we've built. And this is what you should have. So then on the inside, we are using this piece. And I do believe this came out of a 12 by 12. You're going to trim to cut on both sides, and then we are going to make pockets across the bottom, which will be the same size. And I chose this, I do believe came out of scrap. It goes this way. And then I'm going to put added some beads to my lace. And these will go on either side. The word celebrate, which is out of the ephemera pack. Oh, for Pete's sake, get up there and stay there. And then the word congratulations will fit on both sides. So we will go ahead and start gluing. Be mindful of your score marks or your score lines. Now this pocket is going to measure 4.5 inches in the width by 3.5 in the height. And to maximize pocket space, I am using 1/8 of an inch tape, better known as by me as skinny tape. Mount it to just inside that 5/8 score line and come across. That way, if you have any excess hangover, it'll be on this end and you'll be able to cut it off. And then we're going to, these would go up this way. I'm trying to remember which way the pattern went. Oh, here it is. And then the word celebrate. Okay, that side's done. Now we'll work on this side. And the same size pocket. 4.5 by 3.5. And both of these will give you a spot to put a photo here up on top, and then the pocket to store maybe some coordinating items that go with that photo. And remember, if you're using any kind of a beaded lace, that you pull it back off this hinge. That way, if you have to trim, you trim at this end because you don't want that bulk writing right in there. And then the word congratulations. Okay, so now we have that finished. This is what we've got so far. You open this up this way and this way. Now we're going to close these, and I do need to do a little bit of lace trimming here. I'm running right into a bead, so I'm going to have to back off quite a bit here. There we go. All right, perfect. Now this is the piece I'm using for the front of the album, and it is from the 12 by 12 collection, and it was the 8 by 8 version of this that I was able to find these floral clusters and the ribbon. Now, when I cut this, I wanted it to line up that once I got the paper back on here that the images would fall in line with each other. So I measured from left to right on this piece so that it would sit down, and then I came in and once again measured from left to right. So my cut was out here on this one, but this one came in left to right, which was about what, 4 3/8 of an inch. Now, we're going to take one of the picture frames. It's the green one. I put the sticker that says love. Now, I've made a photo mat behind acetate. This is just a piece to kind of give it a decorative look. But this is the exact measurement of the photo that needs to slip inside this, and then you can actually tack down this corner in order to keep the photo in place. And we've got our magnets here after matting and mounting onto the framework. Lost my word there. Okay, so then this is going to sit like this. And before I can do anything, I've got to set the magnets on the underside. But that also means that what I need to do, I need to cover this back here. This is not going to look, because this is going to be exposed. It's going to be exposed, so I don't really want that. So I'm going to have to lift the magnets back off. So hold on here just a second. I'm going to trim this. It's just as easy to cover the whole thing as it is to cover half. So, all right, let's lift the magnets off. Now, if you want to use one magnet, that's fine, but I want to make sure that the corners of this frame don't start to bow, so I'm putting small magnets on either end of this. And I just realized something. The magnets need to go under this piece. Otherwise, you're going to see them. Okay, I don't like where that one's laying. It slipped. I think I'm going to have a problem here with my magnets because I put hold on here. This is a last minute change that I hadn't worked out. Okay. All right, so I am going to pull this together. I'm going to center this, and then I'm going to take the backing off the magnets on these two ends. Okay, and then I'll add these. Okay. Now we're going to add this piece, and then I will secure down half of that framework once I get this piece down. Okay, so now the trick is for me to do this, and then I'm going to glue half of this. Okay, there we go. Slide your photo right in behind there. And again, to protect this, while I am working on this, I am just going to cover it, hold it with a paper clip so that I'm not damaging the front of that acetate until it sells. All right, so there we have it. Open this up. We have our pockets with a nice big spot here on both sides for dedication of a photo. Pockets, you've got a dedication spot here, a photo with a tuck, a nice belly band. Open this up and we've got a tuck on this side with a pocket, and this side is a mirror of the other as far as for the belly band. And then we have the pocket, a large pocket here, and you can still put a good size photo right here. Lots of spaces for those larger photos. Okay, let's turn it over. Let's get some tape on it and let's call it good. And again, I encourage good support on the center of these larger signatures so that you know that it's going to stay in the album. Okay. And this will sit in here like this. Center it. Commit the tape on those ends and the center. And then I will take the backing off. Come on. All right. Take that off for now. There we go. All right, so now we'll move on to the next signature. So I will see you then. Bye-bye.